my love for them. I want them to be in a relationship with me. Jonah basically just throws a fit. That's what we call it if he was younger. And he doesn't just say no. We've been there, right? It's really easy to laugh at Jonah, but we've all been there, haven't we? When the voice comes clearly, I'm not talking about things that, we're not sure which way to go. We're trying to discern God's voice and God's leading. That's a harder thing. But I'm talking about the things we know that are right that we should do. We know that are wrong we shouldn't do. And so not only does Jonah say no, he runs the opposite direction. If you get the map out, you understand Joppa, the port city, you get to the ship there, and he heads toward Tarshish, which is the opposite direction of Nineveh. Isn't that just like us? See, sometimes we want to say, well, I'm not really following God 100%, but I'm not rebelling against Him. The Bible says, those who rebel against Him are those who are His enemies. I may not be doing what He wants me to do, but I'm not His enemy. But so many times we do what Jonah did, right? That we're not just waiting for the power to do what He says. We're not trying we're not leaning into the wind of the difficult thing He might be asking us to do. I don't want to say it's all easy. But instead what we do is we start walking the opposite direction. And we make ourselves enemies of God. So there's a first prayer, God save me. There's a second prayer, all right, God, I get it. Now I don't want to get too lost in the idea of fish, whale, those types of things. At the same time, it is a Hebrew word that specifically means the generic term for fish. And so many people are like, well, it couldn't really be a fish, because I caught a fish, and, it's that big. Even a big fish that you pull out of the ocean, if you go offshore, right? It's like, I guess, how's that work? But if you don't think it's possible, you just don't know your marine life. The largest fish in the world is what's called a whale shark. It's a fish, it's a whale shark. It's the size of it's the length of a full-size yellow school bus. And I was trying to measure here, it's about, not quite to the peak as far as its width. It's also a fish that, now again, we're not going to leave room, we're not going to wash out it's not going to be any less miraculous. Would it be any less miraculous if it was a whale than a fish? No. But the whale shark in particular is not, doesn't feed on flesh. It's one of those that opens its mouth and just kind of seins and takes in all these particles and all the plankton, and that's how it eats. And it's huge, and the mouth opens up again, almost to the size of its whole body, which would be about the size of our auditorium here in the middle. So it's very easy to scoop up a human being. Also, later what happens is the fish vomits Jonah out. So kids, think back to that warm, gooey smell that it was there, right? Isn't that what happens when we rebel against God? We find ourselves in the junk. Whether you're the prodigal son finding yourself in the pig slough, or whether you're Jonah running away from God, you find yourself like, oh, this is not quite what I had in mind. Separate from God, it's always something negative. It's always a miserable life. Where God says, basically, look, He's got a plan, and God's going to get His plan. We had it read earlier for us. Someday, every knee is going to bow. Every tongue is going to confess. And it's almost like He's telling Jonah here, look, I've got a plan. You're part of my plan. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. Aren't you glad we always choose the easy way? So you have Jonah here. He has this first prayer, save me from the water. Second is, all right, I get it. I'm going to do what you want me to do. You got to get me out of this fish. Now, I don't want to be too descriptive because we're about to go and eat, but you get inside of a whale, and I think there's only two ways out. There's nature's way, or you have to go back out where you came from. And so what happens is, if you go into Scripture, the last verse of chapter 2, and the Lord commanded the fish, and it vomited Jonah onto dry land. Verse 3. Let's read 1 through 3 of chapter 3. And the word of the Lord came to Jonah a second time. This is really the heart of the story. God is a God of second chances.
Amen.
And chances after that, and chances after that, and chances after that. There's a book title I like. I've not read the book, but written by a Christian author. It's called The Last Word and the Word After That. And it's sort of what we see in God's grace for us, isn't it? Okay, this is the final chance, except for the next chance. I don't care where you've been. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care how smelly you are from the sin. I don't care how much junk from inside the fish, inside your own personal fish. I don't care how much storm you've been living in. Whatever sin is on you, God is just there and He's ready to wash it away. And He just keeps saying, another chance, another chance, another chance. And the word of the Lord came to Jonah a second time. Go to the great city of Nineveh and proclaim to it the message I give you. Jonah obeyed the word of the Lord and went to Nineveh. Now in children's classes, that's where we end. And we say, hey Jonah, you did it, you repented, you changed. But really when you finish the story, we're only halfway. 2 chapters of a 4-chapter story. And what happens is that as Jonah goes and does it, he still does it dragging his feet. And so he does the obedient thing, which is good. Hear me saying obedience is good. Sometimes you have to do it before you feel like doing it, okay? Don't wait for the feeling to show up. You got someone you need to forgive, but don't wait around till you feel like forgiving. You'll be holding your breath for a long time. But whenever you trust God, saying, okay, I'm going to go, and slowly God helps your feelings come on and catch on with it. If we took a poll this morning, how many of you just got up out of bed this morning thinking, you know what, I would like nothing more than to go to church this morning? But I'm guessing maybe before that first cup of coffee or before you thought, okay, oh wow, I don't want to get out of bed today, and like, oh no, it seems like it's a cloudy day. Some preachers like cloudy Sundays, because you're not tempted to go to the beach instead. But you know those days too, right? And sometimes it's like, I really don't feel like it. But whenever you discipline yourself and committed yourself to being where you need to be and going where you need to go, then at some point, hopefully, you leave and it's always like, oh, I'm so glad I was there. Don't let action follow the feeling. Let the feeling catch up with your action. It's a good thing. At the same time, don't think that just obeying God, just getting done what He told you to do through gritted teeth and dragging feet and bad attitude, that's not what God's after. Parents, is that what you're after from your children? Clean up your room, and all you hear is banging and slamming and hitting and things and pouting and all day long, and but I did what you told me to do. No, because you're after more than just the behavior, aren't you? You're after more than after obedience. You want their heart. God's the same way with us as our Father. Salvation provided in an unlikely way. And again, God provides. In chapter 4, verse 1, there's another prayer. Now what's interesting is what happens. It says, but Jonah was greatly displeased and became angry. And I don't know about you, maybe professional baseball players, they dream of hitting that grand slam home run. Football players, think about that 99-yard pass play that wins the game with no time left. But preachers, we dream about different things. And so here you have Jonah, who's told by God, go preach to the city. Later in the book, we were told that over 120,000 people in the city, all of them turned to God. Now, if I preach to 120,000 people and they all turn to God, I start writing my book and signing my TV deal, okay? Jonah, what? He's upset. And he starts another prayer. Now, keep this in mind. He has a short memory, like us. He's prayed the first time and he got swallowed. He prayed a second time and he got vomited up. I think I'd start being a little more careful how I pray. But Jonah doesn't. And he comes in chapter 4, verse 1. Jonah was greatly displeased and became angry. He prayed to the Lord, third time. Oh Lord, is this not what I said when I was still at home? This is why I was so quick to flee to Tarshish. It's almost like he's telling God, see, I